Welcome to the second most watched show on CUTV, right behind High School Roundup, of course. It's Match Play, and we have an exciting show planned for you guys here today. I'm your host, Clint Logan. Alongside me are our competitors, Scott Majeski to my right, Tyler Harris to my left. Guys, how we doing today?
Doing great, Clint. Always exciting to be here on the High School Roundup set. Now turn Match Play in the spring. Let's see if we can get those ratings close to the High School Roundup ratings.
Oh, I'm doing really well, Clint. Scott, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
having your picture in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette for playing disc golf the morning of the Super Bowl.
Well, it was a big pleasure to be recognized.
Now I see you're all fancied up in your suit.
Yeah, well, I got to keep it going.
Scott's trying to be a local celebrity. We'll see if it plays in his favor here today as we get ready to kick off. As we always do, our first segment, it is going to be the Cal Topics, and we start with women's basketball. And guys, the women's basketball team's really made a turn here at the end of the first round of PSAC West play. We kick into the second now, and they're going to be facing some tougher teams in Gannon and IUP coming up here soon. But is this women's team for real?
Oh, I have to absolutely believe so. With Stephanie Michael heating up from outside the three-point arc right now, not only in the last game at Mercyhurst, but in the past few games as well. They're going to start heading into the PSAC West play against opponents that they have played before, and not only that, I think they're going to have a pretty big advantage. They've seen what they can do in the past, and now they know what to do. They know what to expect from every team. I think that all teams can be playing coordinately, but I think this California Vulcans women's basketball team is really heating up right now, and all the players have really good chemistry. I believe that the California Women's Vulcans women's basketball team is for real. I think they're going to do well on this second wind.
All the love should go to Stephanie Michael, being the big-time senior for this team, the only senior on the squad. But you got to give some to Catherine Seabaum, the point guard. Ever since Rye Gadsden's gone down, Seabaum has to play all 40 minutes pretty much out there. If she gets in early foul trouble, there's not really anyone you can else go to. Chelsea McKnight's growing to that. But it's really solid to see your senior knocking down threes with a very unorthodox shot that Stephanie Michael has. And then you got girls stepping up like Chelsea McKnight. Antoneko's finally getting to form. She played probably guard over in Russia, and now she's down low working her forward, and you can see her making those mid-range jumpers. This team's getting pretty impressive, but with that being said, they got Edinboro on Wednesday, and that's always tough to go up there and play.
Absolutely. Another one to mention is Ashley Hines. Ashley Hines really stepping up right now off that bench, coming in. She's really generating a lot of points for that basketball team, so I think that's another big factor in their play.
It seems like everything's really coming together for them. They have that low post play with Ashley Hines and Antoneko's really elevated their game. And then Kuko and Mahardy, they're shooting the ball well too right now. So we'll see what they do. As we mentioned, Edinboro on Wednesday, so we'll probably recap that on Friday's show. But we move on here. The other side of Vulcan basketball, it is the men. And unfortunately for them, they were on a nice little winning streak that they had going into Mercyhurst, guys. And it seemed like everything was going to go their way. They got the two top scorers, the two best players for Mercyhurst, fouled out of the game late in that game, and they end up losing on a buzzer beater.
Yeah, they got the two big size advantage for Mercyhurst fouled out, and that's early in that second half pretty much with Leal and Bilbo. But then, you're not hitting your free throws, you're getting some calls not going your way, and, you're starting to fall apart. A young team, but they were able to battle there. Jake Jakovic hit a huge three-pointer. Then Daly from Mercyhurst able to send it into overtime. Then overtime starts, back and forth. No one's making shots. People are missing bad shots that they should make, high percentage looks that they're just missing. And then the wackiness happens at the end with a missed free throw and then the fadeaway three-pointer to win it. I mean, just unbelievable win there for Mercyhurst and for Cal. It sucks because, Tyler, you had it in your hands, in the palm of their hands.
California had a really good look going into this one, really doing a lot of good things, a little sloppy at times, but really overcoming the referees. The referees missing some calls, making some bad calls. I mean, you'll have that in any sport that you have, though, in reality. But the thing is the men's basketball team was performing really well. Like you said, Clint, they were hitting their stride. They were starting to get into a really good chemistry bond with Chris Williams coming in. I think that's a really big part of it. Chris Williams coming in there, really helping them drive. But I think one of the big things is they kind of folded under pressure there, and it's something that we should not be surprised about from this California team because they just really haven't hit their full stride yet. They haven't found that go-to player, although I think Keith Lowe is becoming that person. But overall, it's a bad loss for them, and there's nothing you can really do. I mean, they're going to bounce back, I think, but not as much as people think they are, but they will bounce back.
No, that game's over, and they're going to get another shot at Mercyhurst at the end of the season at home, so we'll see if they come back with a vengeance. I'm sure they're going to try and get back on the winning ways into the second wind as they go into PSAC West play and go to Edinburgh on Wednesday as well. So we'll see if they can get back on the winning side. We know they really need to, moving up in the PSAC West. We move on here, and it's a sport we don't talk about too much, and it's the track and field. And Kung for the women's forward track and field, setting records and everything, Tyler. And I know you got the whole scoop on her.
Not the whole scoop, but I'll try to do what I can. But she did break a record. She went to this invitational up at IUP, I believe it was, and broke her record set last year by 9 seconds, which is a fantastic job, and it's really early in the season. So for a runner to do that early so far in this season, it was an indoor meet. I believe it was the 1,500 meter. So great job for her, really pulling out something that you really didn't expect early off in this season. So now that she gets that ground going, she really helps generate a lot of influence on this team. I think they can go far, especially with it only being early in the season. They have a long season ahead of them, a lot of invitationals, PSAC championships coming up, NCAA championships coming up. A lot can happen for this team. I believe a lot of people should really pay attention and focus on that.
You know what's great about these small sports for California succeeding is they can get their Dixon Cup standings up a little bit higher, because the Dixon Cups for all the PSAC schools. It'd be cool if California, with these smaller schools like what Kung can do, we saw Melissa Gates for swimming.
Absolutely.
The swimming program has really come alive. You know, you've got all these smaller programs, cross country, trying to push their way up for the Dixon Cup standings to help California out. And I like it. I like to see the smaller sports getting some recognition on our program and just around the California community.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that was definitely a big driving force in that one. And as you said, the smaller sports are becoming a big factor in that Dixon Cup. It's going to be exciting to see. Who knows what can happen? Maybe we can get up there.
Well, they'll need a push, and wouldn't help to get some from the men and women's Vulcan basketball teams if they can make a long run in the playoffs. That'd be nice to see that too, but always exciting keeping an eye on the Dixon Cup. And that takes us to our last topic here on the Cal Topics, and it's the fan topics. Again, Facebook us your questions. That way we can put your questions on, and we'll talk about them here on the air. Still waiting on one to come in, so that means it comes to me. And a little thing that we've been starting to do down here, down at CUTV is, if no one's heard of it, it's called Stratomatic Baseball. And basically it's baseball, you keep your own statistics, you get a team and everything, but season starts today for us. I know everyone down here is excited about it, but what are you guys looking forward to coming into the season?
Well, it's opening day for everybody. I've got the 2006 Minnesota Twins. Everybody's 2006 MLB teams. I got the 2006 Minnesota Twins. Great pitching rotation I've got with Johan Santana, Liriano, and Scott Baker. I am ready. Joe Mauer had a tear in spring training. This team is looking good. They're looking solid right now, Tyler. I'm telling you right now, watch out for those Minnesota Twins. But I cannot wait, because it's really such a fun game, because being a huge baseball fan that I am, I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really growing a liking to it as well, only being introduced to it this year. I actually bought the pro football version myself. Started to get into that a little bit, but my team's looking pretty good. I was honored with the 2006 Houston Astros baseball team. Now, this is a team that was much better than they are present day. I have Clements, I got Oswalt, I got Andy Pettit as my starting 3 pitching rotation. Wandy Rodriguez as a rookie, I can put him in starter or relief. Very good. In spring training, some of my guys were faltering a little bit, not performing up to their best, but my lower guys are really coming out, standing out. I have a lot of faith in my team. I don't think I'm going to make too many transactions either as far as free agency. I think I'm going to stick with my guns that I have, and I'm really going to power it out with this Houston Astros team. I'm looking for the World Series, baby. I think I can do it.
Well, it's a 12-game season for all the teams, and there's 6 participants. Us 3 right here. I have the Boston Red Sox, along with Zach Lamar, who has the St. Louis Cardinals. Our producer, Gary Smith, who has the Detroit Tigers. And, of course, Andy Hughes, always down there, but one of the best ones probably, with the Cubs. And not a strong team, but Andy Hughes, he's usually pretty good at everything. So
yeah,
we'll keep our eye and maybe keep you updated as our season goes along. But that's going to do it for our Cal Topics. Coming up next is our Pittsburgh local topics, and you want to stick around for those because they're going to be good. Stay tuned. More match play coming up next on CUTV. Hello and welcome back to Match Play here on CUTV as we just wrapped up the Cal U topics and we get ready to jump now into the Pittsburgh regional topics, guys. Now where we can talk about the Pens, the Pirates, the Steelers, and everything involved in that. So we'll kick it off with the Pittsburgh Penguins, and they're going on a little bit of a streak here now, guys, looking strong in their last couple performances. The last one, the most recent win over the Washington Capitals, in which Chris Kunitz was just on fire in that game, and a more strong goalie performance from not only Fleury, but Thomas Vokoun as well. So, Tyler, can anyone stop these Penguins right now who are in first now in the Atlantic?
There are teams that can stop them. However, I think they're on the other side of the division. They are the Chicago Blackhawks and the Sharks right now. They're the only teams that really can stop them, I believe. They're on fire right now. They're finally hitting stride. The chemistry is all starting to form in slowly but surely. As you mentioned, Kunitz having a huge game, 4-goal game. Originally, it was only 3, but they deferred that Paul Martin goal as a Kunitz goal, so he got 4. These players are really hitting their strides right now. They're finally getting used to the season. They're finally starting to get used to everything. They got, it's actually only a 3 straight right now. They lost to the Islanders in a really brutal game. Really didn't see that coming. But regardless, big win for Washington the other day. And that Vokoun goal that was let in, just random, totally random. Should have not have happened. Just a fluke goal, as you call it. Vokoun really performing well, and Fleury starting to perform well as well. Very strong team right now.
Well, let's hope they don't peak early like they did last year. They went on a tear in February last season, and they started to slow down in March, and we saw them lose in the first round to Philly in last season's playoffs. So let's hope they didn't peak too early. I mean, we know this team can score. Let's just hope they haven't reached their peak level. It's a 3-game winning streak, and then they got the Islanders coming up on Tuesday, a team they've never matched up well against. But, you look at that Western Conference, you got teams like Chicago and San Jose. St. Louis is a very good team. And then in the East, you got Boston's playing pretty well this season. The Rangers don't match up well against the Penguins, but if Henrik Lundqvist, if he can find the way to fix himself against these Pittsburgh Penguins, you watch out, because he's one of the best goaltenders, I think, in the National Hockey League. But it's good to see them hitting their stride right now.
Yeah, Lundqvist really is going to have to try and find some way to turn around against the Penguins, because they've had his number already the first 2 games they played him so far this season, and we'll see how the Pens fare the second time around against these Islanders, who pretty much outskated them on the ice. But we'll keep our eye on that. We move on to football, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, guys, obviously the season over and the Super Bowl was yesterday, but another important thing that had Steelers fans keeping their eye on was the Hall of Fame ballot, and Jerome Bettis made the cut of 10, and this is his 3rd straight time on the ballot, but didn't end up making it into the Hall of Fame. Is he a snub? Did he get snubbed this year?
No, I don't think so. I think Jerome Bettis is going to get in maybe in a couple years, maybe down the road a little bit, when we have maybe our kids and our kids look and go, who was Jerome Bettis? And then we can, because, remember when you were younger and you saw guys getting in and you didn't really know who they were, but your dad explained, oh, I saw them play. I think that's what you're going to see Jerome Bettis eventually get into the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's a snub. I love how Chris Carter got in. I thought Chris Carter deserved to be in a couple years ago, but good to see Carter getting in. But I don't think Jerome Bettis is a sub. I see him getting in about 5, maybe 10 more years, because he's not that famous of a running back. He's not, Walter Payton or one of those guys. And the one big thing about running backs is yards per carry. 4.0. Bettis was 3.9. That 4.0 is that threshold to get into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I agree. However, I think he's going to get in a little bit earlier than 5 to 10 years. I think he's got a few more years ahead of him until he gets in. He definitely deserves it, though, with the amount of work that he's put on for the Steelers. You said 3.9 yards per carry isn't exactly high enough to get in there. But the fact that he's in the top 10 in total rushing yards, he's just one of those legendary players that not even Pittsburgh Steelers fans have heard of, but fans from all around even the world, I would say, have heard of him. Great backstory behind him. He's a really good bowler, which I like, which has nothing to do with his, stock there. But I think he's an extremely nice guy. He really deserves to be in that Hall of Fame. And I think with the stats that he has given throughout his career, and I think with the reputation that he has, he's going to be within about 2 or 3 years, I think he'll be in.
Some people saying maybe he'll be in next year. He got snubbed a little bit. Some other notable players getting in there included Coach Bill Parcells. You mentioned Chris Carter, Jonathan Ogden, Warren Sapp, who a lot thought maybe shouldn't have been in there, but that's another argument for another day. Maybe we'll see Bettis back out there. We'll sure see him on the ballot and probably make the cut again next year. Moving on, we talked Pittsburgh Pirates, and they're getting the buses packed up. They're getting ready to head down to spring training almost, but some good notes coming out of there is the fact that Neil Walker and James McDonald are staying in Pittsburgh, contracts figured out and everything, and these are two big-name players. You got one of your top pitchers in the rotation, and you got probably one of the more consistent second basemen once he starts getting in stride and defensively there in Pittsburgh, and he's the hometown kid.
Yep.
But how important are these for the Pittsburgh Pirates?
Oh, I think it's definitely a big advantage for us to go into the spring training season with two of our best players back on the roster with full contracts now. McDonald really started off strong last season. After the All-Star break, fell apart, unfortunately. It was really hard to see. Talks of him going back down to the minors was looming, but I don't think that would have been a really good decision, even though he was falling. Walker is a big pickup as well. As you said, one of the more consistent second basemen in the game. Really a big player for us for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Consistent hometown man. He's a very good player. He's probably one of the better second basemen, and who knows if he does good enough this season, which I think he might be able to do. You might see him on a few ballots to get into the All-Star game. He is that good of a player in my eyes.
If he can stay healthy, then yeah, for sure you
agree.
can see that in him. But what I'm disappointed is with Neil Walker, he's only signed for one more year to avoid arbitration. I want a long-term contract signed with Neil Walker. I want Neil Walker and Andrew McCutchen, Pedro Alvarez to be my core three that I follow. And then when Garrett Cole and Jason Tyon and all them start coming up, I want to see some core players you can build around. James McDonald, on the other hand, yeah, this guy went from a Cy Young candidate first half in last season to blows up and probably couldn't pitch in single A. He needs to have a great year this year. He needs to have a consistent year to even think about getting a long-term contract. He's got the stuff. I know you love him, Clint. You think James McDonald's got great stuff. So do I. But he's got to find it in here for that second half because he's collapsed the past two seasons in the second half.
You also have to remember, and Ken Secalve said it best for Pirates baseball, the fact that James McDonald went into last season never having pitched over 200 innings, and that's something that he had to do last year, and you saw him just fall off. So it's good that he got over that inning, and maybe he can fix it mentally. He's going to have to if the Pirates want to make another run at this thing. So we'll see what happens with that. We move on, Pitt basketball, and Tyler Harris called it last week in terms of them getting a win over Syracuse, who is a top 10 team, and they did it pretty easily. And unfortunately, you're going to have to wait because I'm going to let Scott take this one first. But Pitt basketball may be for real, like I mentioned last week. I wasn't sure if they were, but that's a pretty solidable win.
It is a pretty quality win. I didn't think they were for real because I still think it was early last Monday, and I'm still kind of thinking it's a little bit early to say they're for real because we're not into the tournament play. But when you can beat Syracuse at home, it's pretty impressive because you got to win big games at home. And, you know, for Pitt, I like it. I mean, you're building a team here. You're looking pretty good. Jamie Dixon knows how to win basketball games. Being not a huge Pitt basketball fan, it's kind of good to see them, though, marching their way up into the standings. And hopefully, you know, in their last run at the Big East, they can make some noise.
Dixon knows how to coach a basketball team. There's no doubt about that. Dixon loves this team right now. Rather young, if you will, with Woodall being your senior. I believe there's only one other one on the team. Most of them being juniors and a few freshmen, a couple notable sophomores as well. Regardless, phenomenal job by the Pitt Panthers coming up against Syracuse and really just taking them by storm. Syracuse didn't expect that at all. However, they did lose the game before to Louisville, only by 3. That was a tough game for the Pitt Panthers. They have Seton Hall tonight, and that'll be definitely still a big matchup, even though Seton Hall doesn't have that great record. It's still going to be a good test for the Pitt Panthers. Right now, they're on a 4-1 streak. I believe they can get it done. I think they can still continue with their stride. They're really becoming a more confident team, and I think if they can handle it well in the Big East championship game, they can come into this NCAA championship game and really surprise some people, maybe get out of those choking ways and really show that they're for real now that some of their former players are gone, and Dixon can really coach his team. I think they have a good shot.
Scott mentioned last week, too. Maybe we won't know how good this team is until the Big East Championship, and that's a good point to make because that's really where you can see some of these teams come out, and really that's when they're going to start fighting because they know they're about to get into the home stretch. And we're pretty much into the home stretch here. We got one more segment to go, and it's the day after the Super Bowl, so you know we're talking Super Bowl. That's coming up next here on Match Play, so stay tuned.
CUTV is always on the air online. Like us on Facebook for upcoming events and status updates. Follow us on Twitter at CUTV_PA for behind-the-scenes exclusives. For streaming news and sports coverage, subscribe to our YouTube channels. CUTV social media. It's always online.
Some words that Pittsburgh Steelers fans never want to hear. It is the Baltimore Ravens are world champions, and it's a tough one to swallow if you are a Steelers fan, as the Ravens victorious last night 34-31 over the San Francisco 49ers. And guys, I'm sure you both watched the game. You saw all the controversy that was going on in terms, not controversy, but the situation with the blackout, a 34-minute delay that's never happened in the Super Bowl, a pretty odd thing as well. But also you have the Ravens a little bit of a collapse with San Francisco coming back in that game. And what was the real headline for you in that game, Tyler?
The real headline for me, I mean, you can dispute the refs, you can dispute so many things. You can dispute the power outage. You can dispute how the 49ers played in the first half of that football game, and I think that's really the big thing. There's a lot of main things. 49ers did not perform well in the first half of that football game. The power outage came along, gave them a spark, gave them to let them calm down, let Kaepernick calm down, let them, regenerate themselves. The refs missing a few calls in the end, very debatable calls, very debatable missed calls, that is. That could be swing either way. There was a lot of determining factors that really made that Super Bowl what it was. And football fans around the world are pretty surprised about what's going on. Overall, it was just a mind-blowing Super Bowl with a lot of problems.
I'm going to talk about Jim Harbaugh's play calling on that final goal line, first down and goal in the end of the fourth quarter. You've got an all-pro running back, you've got a mobile quarterback in Colin Kaepernick. Why aren't you running the football more, and why aren't you developing more plays so you can just, it's 4-down territory no matter what, so get yourself closer to the goal line. If you get to maybe the 4-yard line on second and goal, you have third and goal to get you get third and fourth downs to get just 3 yards in the end zone or 4 yards in the end zone. I didn't like the play calling there down in the final minutes in that goal line situation for Jim Harbaugh. He's an intense guy. Give it to your all-pro running back, Frank Gore. You've got one of the best offensive lines in the National Football League. Let them do it. They work all season long. I just didn't like the play calling. I didn't like their third down and goal play calling where he rolled to the right, did Kaepernick. But, that's why I guess I sit here and I'm not on the sidelines coaching.
You also have to wonder why they didn't run as well, because Haloti Ngata, one of the best run stoppers on the team, was injured in the game and was out. So you keep that in your pocket. And no mention of Ray Lewis either in his final game winning his Super Bowl. But these two are Steeler fans, so we expect that. We move on. Guys, some of the best part of the Super Bowl and what a lot of people got to see during that 34-minute blackout was Super Bowl commercials, and we always try and rate our best ones. What did you guys think about the Super Bowl commercials, and throw out your favorite one out of those big packs of commercials?
I thought they were all pretty good consistently. I love the Clydesdale one, the Budweiser, where he grew up, the horse and the guy, all forever, and then the horse ran back to him. I love the Oreo commercial, though, where they're in the library and they're all whispering and fighting and stuff. I thought that was hilarious. And then the M&M commercial was a good one, too. But I thought they were all rather consistently good this year. And, there are a lot of memorable ones, and I just love that Clydesdale because I love Clydesdale horses. They're awesome.
Yeah, I personally didn't get to see the Clydesdale horses one.
Oh,
I'm really upset. I need to YouTube it, definitely. I heard it was definitely a good one. I liked the commercial. It was a car commercial that was holding the horse, not the horse, rather, the baby wolf. And, they were saying it was definitely an easier process. Well, the mother wolf came in and made it very intimidating for the couple behind the car. I like that one. I like the M&M commercial in the very beginning. Really got it to kick off. And as you can see, the Clydesdales right there. Looking good. But anyways, there was a lot of good commercials this year, and to pick one is very hard. But I'm going to go with my favorite. It would definitely have to be that Baby Wolf one. The wolf was really cute. I like the wolf. So I'm going to go with the Baby Wolf one.
There's always a lot of good ones on there. And no mention the Doritos, Locos Tacos, the Taco Bell one. That you had that. You saw in there the E-Trade Baby as well. And, again, a lot of good with the M&Ms, as we mentioned.
I enjoyed the Doritos one where they were prancing in the daughter's room, and the one man was wearing the woman's wedding dress. I really enjoyed that one. I thought that one was
I
really
like
funny.
the Dion one where he put himself back to rookie. I can't remember, Sandcastle, I guess was his name or something like that. I thought that was
a good
clever.
one.
That was a good one, really related to football too.
Yeah.
So everyone, of course, enjoyed that one. We move on. We talk golf, guys. Phil Mickelson now, just after Tiger Woods wins a tournament here to start off the 2013 season, we hear the second biggest name in golf, Phil Mickelson, and you know he almost beat his own record on the first day, almost scoring a 59. He ends up getting a 60, and then almost gets the best two-day score in the tournament, and ends up bogeying on 18. But Phil Mickelson still able to win by 4 shots over Brandt Snedeker, and a fantastic performance by Phil. Maybe Phil might be back.
Phil might be back, but I don't like his chances quite yet. Snedeker is really proving himself as one of the top-notch golfers right now, finishing second in both tournaments. Phil had a fantastic round, though, first round, and even the second round really good. Fell apart in that last round, the final round. Snedeker just nipping on his heels, just could not seal the deal, only finishing 3 strokes behind. Phil Mickelson is a good golfer, but that's his course. That's the course that he played with and played on in college. Very familiar with that course, so obviously he should do well in that tournament. I really don't think Phil Mickelson is back. I don't think he's the real deal quite yet, but I think you really need to watch a lot for Snedeker this upcoming year. I think he's going to prove a lot of people wrong, and I think he's going to show he's one of the best in golf right now.
I don't think Phil really ever left because Phil's kind of always been inconsistent throughout his career as a golfer. But, you know, it's great to see him do what he did over this past weekend. But, you know, it all leads up. Everyone's just building their confidence, hitting a stride. So when the Masters plays come up, the Opens, all of the major tournaments coming up, and you just got to start building your strides, getting back. Tiger's regrouping, Mickelson. You know, hopefully Ricky Fowler, who I really like as a golfer. I think Ricky Fowler has worlds of potential to be one of the best golfers out there. He just he can't do it on a consistent basis. He'll play like the first 2 days really well, and then he'll fall apart on days 3 and 4. But it's all building towards the majors, and great to see Phil do this because I like Phil. You know, I like the lefty golfers and Bubba Watson as well.
Bubba Watson, I was going to say, Bubba Watson's really showing himself this season as well.
We also haven't seen Rory McIlroy get one yet either. Maybe he comes up and wins the next one. We'll keep our eye on that as well. We move on, guys, our last one. We talked pit hoops in the Pittsburgh regional topics. Now we talk number one's going down as the Hoosiers knock off Michigan. And a great win for them, but another number 1 team goes down.
Yeah, and you got the number 2 team going down as well over the weekend in Kansas. So the Hoosiers, Indiana Hoosiers, back in themselves, seeing them at number 1. I like Indiana. And that's a great traditional basketball school over there in Indiana. You know, great to see. It's Big Ten basketball. It's not like the football conference where everyone hypes it up or they all just come to suck in the bowl games. I think the Big Ten is a quality basketball conference. You're deep with Indiana, Michigan, Ohio State, and Wisconsin. Michigan State's always there. But I think Indiana's the real deal, and it's great to see Indiana back as one of the nation's elite, Tyler.
Indiana is probably the strongest team in college Division I basketball right now, no doubt about it in my mind. Michigan really tough contest for them, but they're going to have to show it again. Indiana is against, I believe it's Ohio State this upcoming Saturday. They're going to have a really tough contest against them. Florida sneaking in there at number 2 right now. Florida really showing themselves right now. Duke's still up there, even though they've had a few losses. But this year has really been the big thing, has been number 1 teams losing. And it's happened more times probably than it has in the past decade, really. Just very tough competition from all angles of the game right now. All those schools are pulling big players. Kansas falling, as you said, number 2 spot. But I believe Indiana is the best in college basketball. Florida really proving themselves too in that number 2 spot. But if Indiana really wants to prove themselves to me, they have to start Saturday with Ohio State. That's going to be a tough contest.
And you know what's great is Indiana finishes up the Big Ten regular season at Michigan.
Yeah, they make that notice on game day. They made that point very clear, is that's going to be a fantastic finish towards the end of the season as well. And maybe Indiana may still hold that number 1 spot. The way the season's going, I doubt it.
Yeah.
But we'll see what happens with that. But that is the end of our show here, unfortunately. And another great one on hand, another great debate between these two. But again, we'll have to leave it up to you to log on. There you see our Facebook page, facebook.com/CUTV. So go on. You can watch all of the episodes of Match Play on there, and as well catch up with all the highlights from men and women's Vulcan basketball here on CUTV. So unfortunately, that's it for us, guys. Again, another great show, and that's going to do it for us here on Match Play. For Scott Majeski, Tyler Harris, and everyone back in the control room, I'm Clint Logan, and thanks for watching here on CUTV.